Obviously, we're all familiar with our basic passive infrared high bay sensor that we can use pretty much on anything that has a knockout. This sensor is going to be offered two different ways. It's going to be offered to you as a simple on-off control, and it's also going to be offered with on-off control with the ability to also do bi-level dimming, as well as photo control, daily harvesting. We'll also be able to program it with the remote, which is nice. We'll be able to pre-program in modes, different types of macros, if you will. So maybe for the warehouse, you may have a program set for your high bay sensor. Maybe you're using the sensor in a different area in a hallway and you might want it to do something different. What do I mean by something different? What you can do with a bi-level dimming sensor is you can tell the sensor, hey, I'm in a stairwell. I want to shut down, but I can't shut off all the way. So only take me down to 30% when there's no occupancy. In fact, it's funny, bright in here, only turn me on to 70%. So you have control of the high range, and you have a control of the low range for on-off in the bi-level dimming, which gives you a lot of flexibility in your programming. So your customer may deem an area too bright or not bright enough. It might be an inspection area, you need 100%. It might be an area over here where you're just storing things and you can reduce it 50%, increasing the energy savings with your customer. Most importantly, get you a $50 bonus for each individual fixture that you're using this type of technology. Now, we're going to offer that not only in passive infrared, we're also microwave technology. Microwave technology is a lot more sensitive than passive infrared. Talking about the two technologies, passive infrared stands for passive infrared, PIR. So what it's looking for is heat in motion. If it doesn't see heat in motion, it doesn't work. So that's why passive infrared, it's good, but it's not the best solution at all times. The further you get away from a passive infrared sensor, the more space you have in between its ability to see. See, it reaches out like fingers. So when it's reaching out its infrared beams at like fingers, there's spaces in between the further you get. Those are called dead spots. So passive infrared isn't always the best solution. It does work for your basic.
That's why we got microwave.
Microwave works very much like ultrasonic technology. Ultrasonic technology is almost like radar. What's happening is there's a sonar wave that goes through the room. It bounces and it moves in the same pattern. If there's a movement in that room, that pattern is disrupted and that pattern changes. When that pattern changes, there's your trigger for microwave technology. Saying this red beam on passive infrared. So there is no dead spots. The room's completely filled with that sound wave or microwave technology that's conducting or catching better movement. So this is going to be good for major motion, if you will, major motion being walking and moving, minor motion being simple movement at a desk, turning in your chair and such. So microwave technology is definitely going to work out better.
And you can use this sensor pretty much anywhere that has a knock. Think about it. Strip fixtures, wraparounds, high bay, low bay. You know what I mean? There's enough application that is out there. As Tom said, we're going to offer it in two different styles. One is simple on and off, where they don't want any sort of like advanced lighting. And the second one's going to do all three. On and off, bi-level dimming, as well as the daylight harvesting. And if you're familiar with small business and standard program, there's more than enough incentives available. Take a look at it. It's a good incentive that you can utilize. Price point is great. We're going to be releasing a price point, I would say, by the end of this month on this product. And we're going to be fully stocked, I would say, beginning of March with all the products. So if you need spec sheets, reach out to us and we'll get you spec sheets so you can start sending it to along with the project. So this way it can be pre-approved so you don't have to get another pre-approval just because now you want to add something. I want to pass this down to everybody.
Yeah.
To me.
There you go. So the great part of
So
it
you
all
can
is
see both the styles.
it's going to work on any fixture that has a 0-10 volt interface. So if you got gray and violet, this is going to work for you. Now, for other fixtures that we don't have a knockout for, retrofits, behind lenses, PRI is not your best solution, microwave is. So again, fully programmable as we talked about, bi-level, connect to your dimmer. You can do your bi-level dimming, your photo control, your simple on-off, or you can order it just simple on-off. So this will be usable in retrofit kits and other types of fixtures where the knockout's not going to work.
Right.
So if you're retrofitting strip fixtures, or if you're using one of our strip retrofit kits, this possibly could be an answer as well.
So I know a lot of us do retrofitting, right? There's no good solution when you retrofit is putting a sensor on, right? This is especially designed for that purpose. When you're doing a retrofit, how can we add that sensor? How can we provide those guys with the savings that you normally get with a new fixture? So with this, you'll be again able to program it with the dip switches in the back or with the remote control. And you just basically walk around and just point to the fixture and it will program it. Not only that, let's say if they have a power outage, right? They will remember the last thing that you programmed automatically. So it doesn't go back to the control, which is a nice thing. So you don't have to go back to the job site and start reprogramming everything just because they lost power for a long time.
Is that indefinite memory?
It is indefinite memory. These are designed for about 200,000 cycles, which is a long time. So, when you have a power outage, yes, they have a
People
memory
have
to
to
remember.
board
Yes.
with next to no power for a month.
Yeah,
You know.
like these things can run
So
very low volts.
does that attach to a 2x4 trough or?
Yes, so it will get mounted inside. Those
Inside.
sensors- inside. So they won't even see this sensor at all from outside. Then that's the beauty about it, because people don't want to see this big thing hanging out of their fixture and look ugly, right? This gets mounted inside the fixture.
And it still picks up right through the lens?
Absolutely, and that's why we're going to use a microwave, because microwave technology, we've been testing it for about 2.5 months, and it works really well. Really well.
Paracube lens,
I'm sorry?
will that work with like the 16 cell paracube?
Yes.
You have to hang it down in the cube, or can it be above it?
You're always going to get better when you're hanging it down and you can see better. But for the most part, microwave is going to fill the room, so it should be okay. Because at the end of the day, when the room is empty, there's going to be a certain way that room is getting fed by sonar or whatever you want to call it. It's the same principle as
Even if
sonar
you
radar.
can't see it, even if there's not a direct line
It,
between
it,
it?
it doesn't matter if it sees it.
Okay.
Just like when you do sensors in the old days, when you had a bathroom, you had to worry about a bathroom stall, especially a female bathroom where it's all stalled. Of course, the sensor can't see every stall in every person, but we used ultrasonic technology. When you look at sensor technology in the past, we had three basic technologies. We had passive infrared, ultrasonic, and microphonic. Passive infrared being what we talked about, heat and motion. Ultrasonic is just what we're basically talking about microwave principle, where you're filling the room with a sonar sound wave, basically, that if it's disrupted in any way, it changes the pattern, that gets picked up, there's your trigger. Or microphonic, which we very rarely see today, which picks up noise. Voice, you can say, hey, turn on lights. Microphonic will pick it up. But we very rarely see that technology used today due to its sensitivity. So now you just have Alexa for that.
You're gonna make those magnetic like the ballast and stuff?
Yes, they're working on that aspect.
I was gonna say, where,
We're gonna send you guys like the installation instruction. Trust me, once you see the installation instruction,
These
you're
are
gonna be like,
these are
wow,
that
this
much
is
more
so
potent
easy.
than these two.
This is so easy. Trust me, right now, by looking at it, you'll be like, how do we install it?
yeah.
But trust me,
We'll
once
get
you
you
see
there.
the installation instruction, it will amaze you how you're gonna install it. So we're gonna make a whole video, training video on it, which will release it as soon as we have the product available.
Is it easy enough for you to program it?
Oh, very good. Easy. You can program it.
Here's a couple nice things too. Let me talk about the remote and the programming. Again, everybody likes the same thing. Maybe we want a daylight harvest, but maybe the CEO of that company doesn't like daylight harvest in his office. He drives him nuts to have his fixtures ramping up and down. We can stop that. We'll program it differently for him. Here's another solution. If any of you are electricians, if I told you that I need an emergency light in row 2, row 4, and row 6, more than likely you're going to be pulling pipe and wire to accomplish that for me. With a system like this, I can go to any fixture I want in any row and say, you know what, you're now my emergency fixture, and program it as such. In fact, I could take that program and make it a macro right here in mode 4, mode 5, whatever mode I feel like putting it in. Just go up to that fixture, communicate with it, press the button. There's my emergency fixture. I certainly didn't have to pull a bunch of pipe and wire to accomplish the same thing. So this gives you major flexibility across circuits, across breakers. It doesn't matter if the same fixture's on the same breaker. You can still make a fixture on the same breaker do two different things.
60 feet also. 60 feet range.
Range on the remote. So couple other things I want you to think about this. It's not that complicated. If you feel that it's that complicated and it scares you away, talk to us. We're gonna offer services to do commissioning for you on your behalf. If you feel like you can do it, we'll gladly bring you in and train you. We encourage you to do this because this is another avenue for you to sell to your customer. You can either sell them a remote for $99 or you can sell them your services to come in. Just like Johnson Controls, when they come in and they do a facility or a campus, they do all the retrofitting, they get all the HVAC done. When it's all said and done, guess what they do next? They sit down with the customer and they talk about a strategy. Now that we've done all this, what's our strategy? Now that we have all these controls in place, what's the strategy? For every single room, every single light, every single HVAC event, everything has to have a strategy. That's called commissioning. That's what you're gonna do. That service is sold, that's where Johnson Controls and the big ESCOs of the world make all their money. This is another avenue for you to make money commissioning a lighting system. And it's so basic and easy that you're gonna love it. This is just more revenue out of the same customer. Again, you sold them this fixture, now you got the control, you got a few extra more bucks from it, and now you're gonna sell the commissioning. That's two other things now that you're getting from that same fixture that you weren't before. So
And there's no
we're
limit
increasing
to how
our
many
revenue.
fixtures that remote can control? They're all the same?
Well, you're gonna program each individual fixture. So you're just gonna walk into this fixture, and, click, it's gonna flash.
Like I'm saying, one remote can do,
Yes,
Oh,
you
one
don't
remote
need-
control can do
yes.
X amount of things.
So you as a contractor only really need to buy you to maybe sell them to your customers
right.
that are savvy enough, and obviously if they're not, then commission, get out there and commission. Also, I just wanted to circle back too on the high bay sensors. We do offer different lens types, IOA sensors, extra square footage. Some of these dim down the amount of sensitivity. So I'm sure you've seen different lenses for different sensors. So that is offered on our high bay series, both for the PRIs.
Yeah.
Anybody got
Any
any other
questions
questions
about,
sensors?
yeah.
So on the infrared, when you go in the office building, they have passive HVAC units and stuff. Will that light kick on and off when the heat or air conditioning system's activated?
If you're within about 6 to 8 feet of it, it's probably going to. That's why I like the microwave a little better for that situation. Because we can tune down the sensitivity on the microwave to stay in a room where it's not going to, you're going to have a bleed out or people walking by an office and doing false trigger. You have the ability to control the sensitivity on that. So to answer your question, I wouldn't even consider PRI anywhere where you got heat, because you got to remember, passive infrared is looking for heat and motion. Just to tell you a quick story, I was at Case New Holland factory the other day, and the guy in the test lab, he's telling me, he's like, hey, these sensors, for some reason, I'm over here jumping up and down, it just doesn't see me. But I got in the tractor and I drove away, and they're all turning on. I was looking at him and I scratched my head for a second, I realized why. Because he was fully dressed for below zero weather, he didn't have no skin showing, no heat. Sensor didn't see him, no heat and motion. But seen the tractor, seen the smokestack, seen that heat from that engine signature, and boom, turn the light on. So, to answer your question, heat will absolutely give you a false trigger, for sure. And that's why ultrasonic technology and other technologies were developed. And they get people that are active indoors. And again, and to catch that minor motion. Minor motion being your arm motion, turning in the chair. Major motions when you're actually walking, moving. So passive infrared's good for major motion, but it doesn't do you any good for minor.
So you're keeping the passive infrared, but just.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because passive infrared still has a place. A simple aisleway in a warehouse, you don't need microwave technology for that. Passive infrared works beautiful for that. When you really want to tailor an area down and say, hey, I just want to see this narrow aisleway right down here, you're going passive infrared. You can't do that with a microwave. Microwave is going to fill this room. So I'm not going to have any hiding places in here. With the passive infrared, I can not only make hiding places with the sensitivity, but you can also, I don't know if you've ever seen some of the kits that come with these that actually blacken the sides off, so it only sees down narrow and won't see out this way. So there are different pieces you can put inside here to do that. So passive infrared is definitely giving you more flexibility, but just less sensitivity.
Right now, they're also working on the outside fixtures. It's gonna have the same option as the knockout, where you just put it into the knockout, and it's gonna be IP65 that can do basically your motion as well as your photo cell for the outside, and do the bi-level if needed. So let's say nobody's there, the lights will turn off. Like especially in the car lights, think about it. Nobody's there at night, right? Why have these lights on at 100%? Put it down at 70 or 40% even. And then if they see any motion, boom, it's going to be 100%.
There's a lot of people that have the stigma, I don't want it shut off for either emergency purposes or like Peter said on Carla, I wouldn't want anyone for theft purposes. Plus, you know what, here's the other side of it all. If you're doing any construction or you're doing any like schools, institutions, when you get into a lot of stairwells, there's certain rules in stairwells that exist where you have to have a special stairwell fixture if you choose to do any type of control in that stairwell. You can never turn the stairwell light off. There always has to be some light on in the stairwell. This is a solution instead of buying a fixture that has a separate light inside it that turns on when there's no occupancy and shuts the main light off. This, you can just use that one light and simply program it to only shut down to 30%, still meeting the stairwell code. So there are codes that you can actually meet without having to go out and buy these specific fixtures. And you know, when you have to buy a specific stairwell fixture, you're paying $300-400 for a $100 fixture just because it says stairwell. So this beats that kind of thing. So this should help you be a little bit more flexible with our basic fixtures.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Anybody? Good.
And so with flat panel suggested, just the next ceiling tile,
Yep.
square bar maybe?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So for the new fixture, there is another sensor coming out which is going to be like this big, and you can bring it back to the dropper box, and then you just mount it in the top. So those are going to be for the new fixtures. Right now they're working on for the Maverick line. They're going to have a pre-hold. They're going to come with a pre-hold. So let's say somebody do want to add something down the line, they'll be able to do that.
And the flat panels?
They're working on it. They're trying to find a way to make it work.
Right.
So again, for right now, we're going to use this remote-mounted sensor, but eventually, goal is to figure out a way to mount it inside where it's ready to go. You know, as technology is advancing, you think about it. Flat panel 3 years ago used to be all non-dims. Now, can you find a non-dimmable panel anywhere? It's hard to find, right? Everything's standard dimming. Same thing was going to happen as this market is changing. Even all the new fixtures are going to come with some sort of sensor built into it as part of the fixture, and then you just basically go around and just program it.